The Day the Bills Died. The strange, hopeful story of undue medical debt. On a windy afternoon in Ohio, a man named Jim opened his mailbox, expecting the usual villains, bills, bills, and more bills, each one screaming in bold red letters, "Pay immediately." But tucked between them was a small yellow envelope that looked so ordinary, it was almost suspicious. No logo, no bright colors, nothing that hinted miracle inside. He almost threw it away, not realizing that inside was the answer to a $10,000 problem, a problem someone had bought for about the price of a coffee. When he finally opened it, the letter said, "Your medical debt has been forgiven. You no longer owe anything." Jim blinked, read it again, checked if he was on a prank show. But it wasn't a trick. This was the work of Undue Medical Debt, a nonprofit that has quietly rewritten the rules of financial compassion. The wild idea that shouldn't work, but beautifully does. This was the work of Undue Medical Debt, a nonprofit built on one of the strangest and most hopeful ideas in American financial history. Since 2014, this organization has abolished more than $20 billion in medical debt for over 14 million Americans. Buy medical debt for cheap. Forgive it completely. Give people their lives back. And somehow it actually works. Before it became Undue Medical Debt, the organization was known as RIP Medical Debt, founded by two former debt collection executives. Yes, two men who once chased people for money, now spend their careers erasing that same kind of debt. It's a bit like a former pirate becoming a Royal Navy officer, or a cat deciding to run a bird rescue center. Confusing? Absolutely, but undeniably awesome. They discovered a strange truth: medical debt, although devastating to individuals, is incredibly cheap to buy when bundled together. Debt buyers purchase these bundles hoping to profit. Undue Medical Debt purchases them to forgive. It's financial judo, flipping the system using the system's own weight. Why they're called Undue Medical Debt now. The nonprofit first became known as RIP Medical Debt, a name that felt halfway between a Halloween joke and a protest sign. But as they grew, the founders realized something important. People didn't need their debt to rest in peace. They needed it recognized as undue, unfair, undeserved, and unreasonable. So the organization chose a name that tells the truth plainly: Undue Medical Debt, because medical crises should not become financial punishments. The letters that change people's lives. Here's the twist: people don't apply for help. They don't fill out forms. They don't make phone calls. One day they're drowning in old medical bills. The next day they open a plain envelope and find out a stranger has bought their debt, not to collect it, but to delete it. Reactions usually follow the same emotional path. Suspicion. This must be fake. Why would anyone help me? Not even my relatives do. Paranoia. Is this a scam? Am I accidentally joining a pyramid scheme? Googling frenzy. What is undue medical debt? And why does it sound like a superhero with spreadsheets? Shock. This is real? And then comes the wave. Relief so big that people laugh, cry, or sit down because their knees stop working. The magic trick. How $1 becomes $100 of freedom. Here's the secret. Imagine a candy shop with old jelly beans nobody wants. A bag originally worth $500 now costs $3 just to clear the shelf. Medical debt works exactly like that. A hospital might sell a $10,000 bill for under $100 because it's old, uncollectible, or just taking up space. Undue Medical Debt buys these bundles for pennies and then destroys the debt on purpose. Bold summary. For every $1 donated, Undue Medical Debt delivers nearly $100 worth of real financial freedom. That's not just generosity. That's engineering hope. The people behind the numbers. Medical debt isn't something you choose. It's something that ambushes you. A broken arm, a sudden fever, a surgery you didn't plan, a prescription you need to survive. Yet the bills feel like punishment for simply being human. Many families describe medical debt as a ghost, always following, always whispering, always reminding. When undue medical debt steps in, the ghost doesn't just disappear. Hope moves in to take its place. Does erasing debt fix everything? Not quite, but it helps tremendously. Economists will tell you debt relief doesn't magically fix credit scores or solve years of financial stress. That's true. But here's what disappears instantly: the fear, the shame, the mailbox panic, the weight on the shoulders, the constant dread of phone calls. Freedom doesn't erase the past, but it makes the future possible. A little humor in the middle of chaos. Let's be honest, the entire medical debt system is absurd enough to be a sitcom. You get sick. You get a huge bill. The bill gets sold for pennies. A nonprofit buys it for the same pennies and then sets it on fire metaphorically. It's as if the healthcare system is a broken vending machine, and Undue Medical Debt walks in, kicks it gently, and hands out free snacks to everyone. What this teaches us: 1. Systems are flawed, but kindness is powerful. A broken system didn't stop compassionate people from finding a loophole. 2. Small donations become giant miracles. A few dollars can save someone from years of fear. 3. Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear ID lanyards, and they delete debt instead of collecting it. 4. Hope often arrives in plain envelopes. Freedom doesn't need fancy packaging. 5. Medical debt hurts more than finances, it hurts spirits. Erasing it restores dignity and possibility. Conclusion: the day the bills died. The day Jim opened his letter, he whispered, almost afraid to believe it, "Is this real?" It was. And somewhere in a small office filled with spreadsheets and compassion, a staff member at Undue Medical Debt smiled. Because for them, this isn't paperwork. It's rescue. It's justice. It's a miracle disguised as ordinary mail. It's the day the bills died.
It's time to study new words in context. 1. Villain. Definition: a villain is a person, group, or force that causes harm, trouble, or conflict, especially in a story or situation where it acts against others. Example: in the story, medical bills are treated like villains because they cause fear and stress in people's lives. 2. Prank show. Definition: a prank show is a television program in which people are secretly tricked or surprised for entertainment, usually before learning it is a joke. Example: Jim wondered if he was on a prank show when he first read the debt forgiveness letter. 3. Judo. Definition: Judo is originally a Japanese martial art that teaches people to defeat an opponent by using the opponent's strength and movement against them. In a figurative sense, as used in the Undue Medical Debt article, Judo means using the power of an existing system or problem to reverse its effect and create a positive outcome instead of fighting it directly. Example: Undue Medical Debt uses financial judo by turning the debt-buying system into a tool for forgiveness rather than profit. 4. RIP. Definition: RIP stands for rest in peace and is commonly used to express respect for someone or something that has died or ended. Example: the organization's former name, RIP Medical Debt, suggested that the debt was being put to rest. 5. Frenzy. Definition: a frenzy is a state of intense excitement, confusion, or uncontrolled activity, often involving hurried actions or emotions. Example: the letter caused a frenzy of emotions, including shock, relief, and disbelief. 6. Ambush. Definition: an ambush is a sudden and unexpected attack or event that catches someone unprepared. Example: medical debt often feels like an ambush because it appears suddenly after illness or injury. 7. Tremendously. Definition: tremendously means to a very great degree, or in a powerful and significant way. Example: the removal of medical debt helped the family tremendously by reducing stress and fear. 8. Dread. Definition: dread is a strong feeling of fear or anxiety about something unpleasant that may happen in the future. Example: He felt dread every time he checked the mailbox for new bills. 9. Flawed. Definition: flawed describes something that has weaknesses or mistakes that prevent it from working fairly or perfectly. Example: the healthcare payment system is flawed because it often punishes people for getting sick. 10. Loophole. Definition: a loophole is a gap or weakness in a rule or system that allows people to avoid the intended outcome of that rule. Example: Undue Medical Debt found a loophole in the debt market that allows them to erase bills instead of collecting them. 11. Lanyard. Definition: a lanyard is a strap worn around the neck or wrist that holds items such as identification cards, keys, or badges. In the context of a story, it is usually used to ground the scene in reality. Describing a hospital worker or a nonprofit representative to make the story feel more personal. Example: the nonprofit worker wore a lanyard with her ID badge while attending the conference.
Comprehension questions. 1. Why did Jim almost throw away the yellow envelope he received? Answer: because it looked ordinary and he assumed it was junk mail, not knowing it contained a letter forgiving his medical debt. 2. What surprising message did the letter in the envelope contain? Answer: it said that Jim's medical debt had been completely forgiven. 3. What is the main mission of Undue Medical Debt? Answer: to buy medical debt for cheap and then forgive it, so people can be free from their financial burdens. 4. How much debt has Undue Medical Debt abolished since 2014? Answer: more than $20 billion in medical debt for over 14 million Americans. 5. Why was the original name RIP Medical Debt changed to Undue Medical Debt? Answer: to emphasize that medical debt is unfair, undue, not something someone deserves or chooses. 6. Why can Undue Medical Debt buy large amounts of medical debt so cheaply? Answer: because old medical debt is sold in large bundles for pennies on the dollar, making it very inexpensive for buyers. 7. What is the key secret sauce or special advantage that Undue Medical Debt has? Answer: every $1 donated cancels about $100 of medical debt. 8. What kinds of reactions do people usually have when they first see the forgiveness letter? Answer: suspicion, disbelief, paranoia that it's a scam, and finally shock when they realize it is real. 9. Why is medical debt described as a ghost in the article? Answer: because it follows people everywhere, causes constant stress, and seems impossible to escape. 10. Does having medical debt forgiven solve all financial problems? Answer: no. It doesn't fix everything, but it removes a major burden and gives people emotional relief and hope. 11. What makes Undue Medical Debt different from normal debt collectors? Answer: normal collectors buy debt to make profit. Undue Medical Debt buys debt to erase it. 12. Why is the organization's work compared to financial judo? Answer: because it uses the power of the debt system against the system, buying debt cheaply and then canceling it. 13. What does the article say about hope arriving in plain envelopes? Answer: it means that life-changing help often comes in simple, ordinary packaging. 14. What lesson does the article teach about small donations? Answer: even small donations create huge impact because they can erase large amounts of debt. 15. What does the title "The Day the Bills Died" symbolize? Answer: it symbolizes the moment a person's medical debt disappears, almost like the bills suddenly died or vanished from their life.